and welcome back to Model Insights with me, Manya. Today we have with us the very lively and talented Nicole Johnson. I'm falling short on words to introduce her. Let's see. She's a model, she's worked in the radio, and she hosts a podcast. Clearly, very talented, very multi-talented, and very well in communication. Without further ado, please welcome Nicole Johnson. Hi Nicole, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really great, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sorry, of course. I'm really glad to have you here, and I'm very excited for our interview.
Cool. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I really appreciate this opportunity. This is very, very cool.
Definitely. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
So I am Nicole Johnson, and I am a model, and I do all kinds of stuff here in New York. Actually, it's in Western New York, which is close to Buffalo. I like to say close to Buffalo, but yeah, so I am just ecstatic that I get this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you talk about your background, you earlier studied computer technology, but later shifted your stream to media. So how did that change and shift happen?
It actually started when I was going to college. I thought it would be fun to try out for a model call that I had seen. Mm-hmm. And I just figured on a whim I would try it and experience it and see what it was all about. And I ended up getting hooked up with an agency out of Western New York. And I found that I loved every aspect of it, whether it was being on TV, whether it was being in front of the camera. My favorite all-time passion above all is runway. I found that runway was like my ultimate jam right there. And I found that as much as I enjoyed that, I realized when I was going to go into the workforce, I really changed my mind in the mindset of I wanted to enjoy what I was doing as opposed to getting a job for money and getting the job for just the credentials of having, you grow up, you're supposed to make all this money, you have to live the American dream, as a lot of people like to say over here. But I found money does not drive me. It's the passion and the fun I have in what I'm doing. So I ended up changing my whole degree and changing everything that I was doing in college right when I had one semester left to graduate with, and I changed to communications and media arts so that I could pursue something more, whether it was TV, whether it was radio. I kind of wanted to try all the different aspects of what there was to offer. And I found that I have a gift for gab, and I found that I really like to dress as comfortable as possible.
Okay.
Even though beauty is pain. Beauty is pain for sure. But I found that I loved radio when I was in college. And to be behind and you aren't seen and you still get to showcase yourself and talk about what you want, and you still get to do everything that you want in basically that entertainment aspect. I found that I loved it. So I changed my whole career, my whole major, my whole everything, and shifted gears towards radio. So I ended up pursuing that instead of anything. But I still stuck with a lot of the modeling and the acting, different things like that when I was younger. And ended up getting my degree, and luckily unfortunately for me, it was a lot of who you know, and that's how I ended up getting hooked up into the different job avenues that I got.
Okay.
I hate saying that because I don't ever want to restrict anybody or think that it's not about who you know. But for me, thankfully and luckily, it was about who I knew. And I ended up getting some really good jobs out of it. So I was very appreciative, and I love what I do now. I do it more for the passion of the love to go to work every day, as opposed to having to make money and pay my bills and do all of that as well. I mean, I do, but thankfully I like what I do.
I think it's great that you decided to make this shift in your stream. You're doing really well right now, be it radio or be it modeling. So I think it's great that you made that decision very early in life.
Yeah, it was definitely something, and it's something that I preach to everybody. Do something, because you have to work forever. I mean, let's be honest here. We all have to do what we have to do to survive, and you're going to be so much more happier if you do something that you thoroughly enjoy and that you actually find happiness in, as opposed to doing something because you have to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I got lucky, and I realized that younger and was able to follow that dream. And I've stuck with it ever since. And modeling and all of that has been the same way. Acting has been the same way. And of course, I do paid work, but I also do a lot of TFP work, which for a lot of people that don't know, it's trade for print. Whether you get photos out of it that go into my portfolio, maybe I will get some of the clothing I use, maybe I'll get a publication out of it or anything like that. I have just a passion for it. I found that it is, as much as I hate to say it, a hobby, but I found that I love it so much, whether I'm making money or not. It's something that I truly enjoy doing. So you have to enjoy what you're going to do in life, no matter what it is. I mean, everybody has a hobby, whether it's reading a book or going in bowling or skiing or whatever it may be. Mine is definitely modeling and acting and all of that. I just love the atmosphere. I find so much joy out of talking and networking and doing something that's fun. I mean, what girl doesn't love to dress up and do wild things?
Definitely, for sure. So, I mean, you mentioned acting as well. So what acting are you involved in? Are you involved in theater, or do you do films?
So, films. I typically like to do, I do a lot of commercial work. And whether it's commercials that are on TV, and of course I do a lot of commercial production for radio and voiceover work and different things like that. But I find that I have loved and have a passion for doing extra work on movies.
Okay.
I'm totally okay with not speaking. I'm totally okay with not being the center of attention. But to be on big films and these big feature films just as an extra, there's no pressure, there's no nothing. You still get paid for a lot of them. And you get to be in the mix of everything that's going on. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to have a lot of fun. It's very relaxed, at least for the extras. And you still get to be a part of this huge, wonderful production. Then when they come to theaters or Netflix or whatever, it's always fun to, see these things and say, I was there, even though I may not have a big, role, but I got to experience everything you're seeing. So it's a lot of fun for me to do that.
So like you said, the atmosphere really matters. I think like you said, being in the atmosphere, being around doing something positive and doing something that's your passion. I think that's what matters the most.
It really is. I mean, in all honesty, like I said before, you have to really enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
So whether you find your niche of what you like my fiance, he is more of the, he likes speaking roles and he likes to pursue some stuff. He doesn't as much as I do, but if he does, he likes the speaking roles and stuff like that. He doesn't mind it. I don't personally like it. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down, but I don't go for it though. Okay. I just want to be in the background doing this.
I think that's still fine. You see yourself on TV and you're like, oh, I was a part of that big.
There I am, real quick. Pause it.
Right. So you started modeling at a very young age. So was that a lot of pressure on you, because you were very young when you started first modeling? And how was that experience for you?
When I was younger, it was a lot of fun, and I didn't really feel pressure. And to me, when I was younger, it was a lot easier than it is now. Okay. I didn't have the worries of being an adult and taking care of myself as I do now. And as you grow older, you start to experience a lot of like anxieties and, different things that you start to go through in life and stress. And I found that as I grew, a lot of the carefree things that I had done with modeling and traveling. I mean, I had traveled to Florida for runway and Pennsylvania, and I was invited to New York when I was younger. And now I couldn't just do all those things if I wanted to do. I mean, I'm sure I could, but I'd probably lose my job. It was a lot easier as a kid or younger, like fresh out of high school and college. And I had that freedom to do it. Where now, although I do have freedom to do stuff, I can't. It's a lot more stressful and a lot more anxiety driven. Now it's more, I can be picky and choose what I want to do, but with anxiety and everything, it kind of made me stop for a while because of the whole idea of how intense it got with trying to balance working, paying my own bills, and doing the modeling, and doing this, and being expected to. As I grew older, it got tougher. And I had ended up quitting for a while.
So that was the reason that you were stressed out? Was that the reason why you quit modeling in the middle?
I don't know if I should say stress. It was more anxiety. I started to really experience a lot of anxiety and panic. And I had always had panic and anxiety growing up as a child and obviously into adulthood. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you're younger, you don't really understand it. You don't know how to control it. You don't know how to, recognize your triggers and then how you deal with it and the way that you deal with it. And at one point, it just got so overwhelming. I had no choice but to kind of pull back. And it got so bad at one point that I had become kind of agoraphobic and wasn't leaving my house, period. And I kind of quit basically everything in my life, with the exception of my job. But it got really, really bad. And then, of course, as I grew older and was able to really recognize and see, I ended up going to a doctor and talking to a doctor because it's very scary and overwhelming when you start to go through things, especially that you don't understand in those certain times. And once I was able to really recognize it and start to learn it, control it, and deal with it, is when I kind of sat back and realized that it was going to be okay. And I can go back out into the world and enjoy things that I loved doing that I had become so scared of doing.
Okay. So, as a person who suffered from panic and anxiety through most of your life, right? So how do you cope up with the responsibilities that come along with the chosen fields, both modeling as well as communication? It requires a lot of communicating to people, building contacts, etc. So how do you cope up with the responsibilities?
With regards to the panic and anxiety?
Yes.
So one of my biggest things is I've learned how to deal with certain situations. Yeah. And I set certain situations up, like I recognize I need to know like where my exits are and how close I am to my vehicle. Little things like that help me mentally able to prepare for whatever it is that I'm doing. Even on this latest movie that I've been working on, a lot of times they've been busing people from one location to another, and that alone triggers my anxiety through the roof. So I was able to talk to one of the casting directors and explain to them my situation, and they were very, very cool. Okay. And they allowed me to drive my own personal vehicle around, and I found that the more not silent I am about it, the better I am off. A lot of times when you deal with your panic and anxiety, whether I'm on set or whether I'm in the middle of a photo shoot or interviewing somebody for the radio, people don't understand what you're feeling. And like, I tend to rock a lot when I get really anxious.
Okay.
And when I do that, people immediately think like sometimes, I'm crazy or something like that. But if I kind of just say, I get a little anxious and I have to shake it out of myself, they understand. And immediately by them going, oh, I don't care. Immediately it makes me go, well, I don't care either. Like, I think I put a lot of pressure on myself and how people view me when I'm feeling anxious. Right. And it perpetuates that. Mm-hmm. So I found that the more I move and shake it out, and the more I just say to people, I'm shaking out my nerves. They don't care. I don't care. It helps relieve the whole situation.
So shaking your coping mechanism?
Kind of say it. What's that?
Is shaking your coping mechanism deal with things?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I shake. And like, I'm a super energetic person. And of course I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot, but I'm a super energetic person, and my anxiety perpetuates that energy. So a lot of times I'm a very excitable, hyper person, but I deal with panic and anxiety all day, every day. So it perpetuates me being excitable, and a lot of people love my energy because I'm so happy and excited all the time. But in reality, I'm just anxious all the time, and I'm trying to just always shake it out of me. And it works well, and sometimes on the inside I'm like, ugh. And then everybody around me is just smiling, going, I love your energy, you're so fun, and we want you around all the time. And I can't help but to laugh, and I'm like, me too.
That's why I introduced you as lively in the introduction. I think you're very energetic and a very positive person to talk to.
I do promote as much positivity as possible. I mean, in my own personal opinion, you have to be happy all the time. Look at the positive as much as possible. I feel the more you dwell on the stress of situations, the more it's going to overwhelm you into everything you do. You have to focus on stressful things.
Right. So other than modeling and radio, do you have any other ideas?
Well, my fiance and I, we do a lot of work with our podcasting and stuff like that. So that is something that we do spend a lot of time on. And that's kind of fun because we can do that just like sitting around. At nighttime, we write our stories and we go through and find music and our sound effects, and we get like different things together. And it's a very relaxing hobby that we have together. So that's something that even just like sitting around at night while we're just watching TV, it's easy enough to focus our minds on writing a story really quick or jotting down ideas for future stories. But we also like to watch a lot of TV. We're big binge TV show worthy people. We get into some wild and crazy. We love crime documentaries.
Same.
Love it.
Me too.
I can get lost for days in that stuff.
For sure. They're so addictive. They're very addictive.
Oh, I love crime documentaries. But yeah, that's outside of that. I like to read a lot. I like to play volleyball. I like to do a lot of things that, don't require a lot of crazy activity too. Because I can be very lazy and I enjoy it. Hi, babe. My fiance just got home. My Macy, he's a physical therapist or a personal trainer, so he was out working with some clients this morning.
Okay, all right. So if we talk about podcasts, so you've just recently started podcasts, right? What all do you cover in your podcast? What is your podcast all about?
So it's actually for children, and it's called Drooly Kids.
Okay.
We had started it as kind of a way for Macy and I to do something fun together. We thought it would be a really fun idea to create a podcast together. And we found that doing children's podcasts were the easiest in the beginning. It was just something that, hey, we're going to do something really fun. They're short, simple stories. He has 2 children and they're very young. One's 4 and one is 8.
Okay.
So it was kind of with the idea that we could entertain them with. And Macy is also a DJ and produces music and does different things with that. So it was a really good outlet for him too, to put a lot of energy into creating fun, upbeat twists on a lot of like the simple songs that we know, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and different things where we all hear as growing up, the normal nursery rhymes. And then of course we've got our own that we created as well based on some of the stories. But it's all for children. They're very, very short. They're witty. They're all rhyming. They have sound effects in them. They're meant to be funny, but also some of them are very, very educational. And then Macy has worked with children with autism and developmental disabilities. So we found that it was very good to put some stories in there as well to try to showcase them in a light of basically having superpowers and showcasing them as being very cool individuals, and hoping that other children will hear the stories, recognize it, and then kind of look at them that way as well, and just perpetuate as much positivity as we possibly can through our stories, but having a lot of fun as well.
That's nice, exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun with it, and we did 2 seasons.
Okay.
And then now winter's coming, so we'll start season 3. In the summertime, you don't want to be stuck in the studio all the time, so we always take our little break when it's nice and hot. And then when it's cold, it gives us a reason to go back into the studio and start recording again and getting ourselves moving and grooving in that.
Okay.
In that way. We'll start season 3 soon, so it'll be fun.
So I hear you're really big in Thailand. Your podcast is quite big in Thailand. So how did that happen?
So I don't know. I really don't know. We started the podcast as kind of something fun to share like on Facebook. And we thought it would be kind of like a big hit, like with all our friends and stuff around here when we originally started. And we ended up putting ourselves out on Spotify, Google, Apple, all the big, major platforms. And as it started to go out, I found this website where you can chart all the different podcasts from around the world, and it'll chart everything from Spotify, from Apple, from Google. And as we've been following it, we get notifications, and we have hit the top. Like, I think our biggest number in the USA was number 4. We hit in the charts, and we've charted in China and Russia and Mexico and Spain, like all over the world. But
congratulations.
We found that in Thailand and even India, for a good while there, we were in the top 50 in India for a good chunk of time. But right now, we're huge in Thailand right now. And we found India and Thailand are our biggest listening audience. But right now, it's definitely Thailand who is taking the win. But it's kind of funny because it's all in English. So I'm not sure. Yeah, how that would.
But it's working well for you.
Really enjoy it. Yeah, it's exciting and it's kind of fun. But we want to do a book and we want to kind of branch it out into other areas as well. We thought that would be kind of fun to do into our next, chapter of. We'll see how all of that goes. We're just having fun with it. So if it grows, it grows.
Okay, that's great. And congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely are very excited about it.
Mm-hmm. So if we go back to modeling, do you have any current projects that you're involved with at the moment?
Well, actually, I'm leaving this week for New York City. It is Fashion Week in New York City this week. So I'm headed out in a couple days as I've got a couple shows that I'm in. Like I said, runway. That is my jam right there. That gets me off the couch for sure. So I was invited to go to New York Fashion Week. Of course, I said yes. I actually have a couple different shows, and then I know I have a photo shoot too, which rumored hasn't been like, the details are being hush, but it's rumored to have a billboard out on Times Square in New York. So I'm very excited about that. And hopefully that all works out as well as I think it's going to. But like I said, everything's being hush. So I don't know for sure, but hopefully that works out very well. And then let's see, we've got, what do we have? We've got another couples photo shoot. BC and I do a lot of couples photo shoots for different photographers. Okay. We do styled, a lot of wedding and boudoir is what the two of us do a lot together. Okay. And we have a lot of fun with that. So we've got a couple different styled photo shoots that are coming up. One a boudoir and one a wedding photo shoot. So we've got some stuff coming up in the works.
Okay, speaking about couples, first of all, congratulations. You recently got engaged, and I hear it was a very special engagement. Tell us about it.
It was actually a surprise. I had no idea. So I have this friend, and she's an amazing photographer. Okay. And she had called me one day, and she wanted to do a showcase for her wardrobe, and she wanted to shoot different styles of her wardrobe to put up on her website for style shoots for other clients. So I said, yes, no big deal. And I went, and all of a sudden she's got me doing hair and makeup for this. And I'm thinking, I thought we were just doing like low-key clothing shoots for your studio wardrobe. I don't understand why I got to be all dolled up. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we putting so much energy into this? Well, needless to say, she gets me all ready. I get out, and she leads me out behind the curtain to go into the studio, and we start, doing our photo shoot. And out of nowhere, Macy comes popping out from behind this curtain, and he's dressed to the nines, and he is like looking good. And he's got flowers in his hand. He's got a box, and I'm thinking, at first, what are you doing here? And then it really started to register what's going on. And as soon as he comes out, I could see him shaking really bad. And I knew. And then my girlfriend, that was a photographer, she starts shooting like crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, he's proposing to me. Right? Happening. And he leans down on one knee. He goes to propose to me. Now, at first, I'm just in shock. I have the ring, the box with the ring in my hand. Mm-hmm. Out of nowhere, I just did this and said, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? I was just so shocked and excited. The ring goes flying out of the box, rolling on the floor. Everybody had to stop. Middle of proposal. Everybody's down in their hands and knees trying to find this ring as it went flying across the room. Wow. So once we finally found the ring, we get back up. I, of course, say yes. He puts the ring in my hand. Then there was other people there that I didn't even know. My best friend was there. She was behind a curtain. She came popping out, and it was a total shock and a surprise. I had no clue. It was amazing, and it was all caught on camera.
Oh, wow. How exciting. That's so nice. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So, on another topic, if I were to ask you any one thing about your journey that you would like to change up till now, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that is a tough question. In all honesty, I probably would, going back to my anxiety and panic, I probably would have sought help a lot earlier. Right. And in that case, I think I would have stuck through with a lot of the stuff that I had taken myself out of. I think if I had sought help earlier instead of waiting as long as I did, I feel as though I would have been able to, in my mind, maybe accomplish some other things that I wanted to. Not that I regret anything. I have no regrets. Okay. Absolutely none. Okay. Every single thing has been so beautiful and perfect in my life. I'm so very happy where I am. But that is one thing, looking back, I wish I didn't wait so long. I wish I didn't stay so quiet about it and just internally torture myself, because I feel like I could have done so much more during those couple of years that I, shut myself down, just being so scared and worried about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, more tough question. Last question, a more tough question. What do you prefer the most? Radio, podcast, or audio?
See, they all have their perks. I like the radio because I can dress as comfortably as I want, and I literally can roll out of bed and go to do that. But I like the modeling because you're with people and the energy is fun, but it can get exhausting. And podcasting is a lot of fun because, you know what? Honestly, I would say podcasting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the podcasting because there's so many venues that you can do with it and enjoy with it and promote it and be out all doing it at home. I would say podcasting.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. Okay. I really want to listen
unless
to a
it's
podcast.
I was just going to say, unless it's runway. If it's runway, that wins above all. Runway. Okay. What did you just ask? I'm sorry.
That I'm really excited to listen to your podcasts. I really like podcasts personally. So I'll listen to yours. I'm really excited too.
Oh, good. I hope you enjoy it. They're short. They're, like I said, they're like 4 or 5 minutes long. So easy breezy, done and over.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for being here with World Model Hunt today. I honestly had a great session. I think you're very lively to speak to and very positive to be around. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
And to everyone else, I will be back with another guest next week. Stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.